All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Spring Championships round of 64. This is a game between Tibia and King Richard III, apparently. Tibia, a very good player, playing as Dutch in this particular game, and King Richard, I haven't heard much of him, but rated as a second lieutenant here, playing as the Russians. So, for those of you who do not know, this is probably likely the first tournament game that I'll be posting on my YouTube channel. This is a tournament hosted by Maito and Amhai. Currently, there's about a $600 prize pool to be won by various people who come from 1st to 8th place. And I'll probably post a video about how that's going to work and how you can find out more information about this at a later date on my channel. But here we have Tibia in the northwest of the... Is that correct? No, yes, it is. The northwest of the map, in the colour green, playing as the Dutch. Placing all his villagers onto the coin mine right there. Going to get those villagers coming out. They do cost coin, obviously, for the Dutch. Lots of coin crates, as we'll see. 1 wood crate start. And to the south of the map, in the colour blue, we do have King Richard III playing as the Russians. There we go. So, I'm gonna do what I normally do with Zuta here. I'm gonna hand it over to you, H2A. What do you think of Russia versus Dutch?
I think it's actually a pretty interesting matchup. I think Dutch have a really strong position because skirms just poke really well against everything Russia has. But both these civs are a bit weaker on the tier list, so it should be a good matchup.
It should be a fun game, yeah. Skirmishes for Dutch, H2, pretty good. Russia, I guess they're just everything. They don't have anything that gets in range of skirms.
Exactly.
Those Cossacks will be quite useful, I suppose. But, yeah. Here we have Blue, going to fill the 75 food treasure right away. That's going to be pretty good for Russia. He's gone for just the one house there, so clearly looking for some sort of 14 villager age up, otherwise he may have decided to build a market. And that food definitely getting up a bit quicker. Russia, do you think they can be aggressive versus Dutch here?
Yeah, I think they can, but not if if the Dutch player like builds a bank wall and makes some skirms and like ships 8 pike, then they can't. But at the same time, like if they send 8 pikes, they don't want to be doing that. So you kind of already won, right? Like you just as long as you don't suicide under the pikes.
This is true.
You kind of already won.
75 food, though, going to be really quite useful, getting them up a bit quicker. And Russia do have some fairly... Well, they have 3 military shipments of which in the Colonial age, which can be quite useful for being aggressive. They only has the 2 stronger ones in his deck for this particular game, being the 5 Cossack shipment and the 13 Strelets. Dutch, though, they're very Oh my goodness me. 4 envoys already coming out. What?
He is going all out on... That's an envoy rush, right? I mean...
Is he going for what? He wants to be aggressive with envoys early game, take out some villages perhaps, then maybe get some treasures if he can't get the...
Yeah. I'm so surprised. Like he was asking if the map's fair for both players. Maybe he was hoping that it wasn't fair, so that way he could have his envoys start doing the harassment.
Yeah.
But what's funny about this is like, I mean, I think the correct response to this isn't so obvious because they have 10% range resist and 200 HP. So do you really want to bell all your bills as Russia to stop the envoy? I think you just want to. I think you just have to run the Vil that's getting punched away, and that's all you have to do. But oh my god, is he gonna lose a Vil?
He might do. He hasn't noticed it yet. He's like, there's like just a green blob. Like you look at the mini map, you're going, I can just see that star in my base. I'll just quickly finish microing up this 90 wood treasure he's going for. And then like you click back on your base, you're like, holy balls, there's 5 envoys gang piling my villager. By the looks of it, he's actually, he's okay. He's got his age up in queue. He's now going up. That villager is fairly weak, and I suspect that Tibia is going to be looking for it.
Oh, is he getting out?
Here he goes. It's not going back towards the TC. Early envoy aggression going to be paying off here. What?
What? I don't know if it's paying off quite yet. I mean, that was 300 food and envoys. But I mean, look, the Dutch player is aging with 15 vills. How did he do that? Did he send it?
Did he, hold on, let's take a look at the shipments tab. No, he started with 3 vills. He didn't age with any particular weird resources. He did have, obviously, a lot of coin as Dutch. You start with that, but that's normal. That's not going to help him age up any quicker. Did he find any treasures, perhaps, that would be useful? I mean, Tibia did come across 35 coin, and that's it. That's hardly going to get you up. I'm not quite sure. Well, Dutch do age up fairly fast.
Yeah, he's just owning with these envoys.
Yeah.
It would be amazing if it's locked in. Oh my gosh. And see, that was my point, right? I mean, you don't want to like waste TC fire on a 200 HP envoy, right? So
no. You don't want to put 10 vills in the TC. It's just really, really going to slow you down, especially. And these things have 200 HP. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, they sponge up so much. And players like Azamk even mix them into their army just for that sort of function. If you've got your vills in the TC, you're probably actually, it's not going to be quite as good. Coming back in, constantly harassing here. Is he going for the weak one again?
I think he's just happy to punch anything right now.
Yeah.
Look at how fast that build does. It does 25 damage each swing. And how do you build a blockhouse right now? Like,
yeah,
you know,
it's pretty irritating. Putting it up behind his base though, going to be playing defensive there on the 14 vil. I think being aggressive here is really not going to be too useful. Certainly, you'd know what a blockhouse would be if you were going to be aggressive, because the Dutch players got plenty of scouts. But
although we are watching this blockhouse is going up. I'm gonna pop over and just quickly see what it looks like in the Dutch base right now.
Let's do that.
It looks like he's got a bank up. Looks like there's probably a bank wagon on the way, and I mean, he's producing vills and just playing totally normally. So
just no. This is the only weird thing he's done. He's decided to start with a bunch of envoys, harass. It did actually kill a villager, so you could argue that paid off, and certainly forcing a lot of the villagers back to the town center has slowed him down.
Forced an in-base blockhouse, which
he did force that. 3 hussars coming out as his first home city shipment, so not going to be investing in that bank wagon or perhaps the 700 wood the Dutch would normally go with to get the banks up and get that early economy rolling. Actually going to just pile on the pressure with 3 hussars, and this, like, if you look at Blue's hunts, because of these envoys, he's perhaps not been able to herd so well. He's been distracted by trying to get his villagers back into his town center, or just, making sure they're not actually dying. His hunts aren't basically in his base, and these 3 huss are really going to cause a few problems for him.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a really interesting kind of I guess surprise strategy out of Tibia. I would call this a surprise strategy.
I would certainly call it a surprise strategy. Another villager going down. What a pro. 5 muscles, however, do come out. Going to force these back, and now perhaps he can actually start herding. But Dutch, does he have anything coming out? No, he's not got a barracks up or any other kind of military building. By the looks of it, was he collecting to age?
He's maybe.
I'm not sure yet.
I think he's just going to 700 wood and then get 4 bank and then age maybe.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
I mean, now he's forced 2 defensive blockhouses and defensive 5 musket. I mean, the Russian player is just totally caught off guard by these envoys.
700 wood has arrived though, but really, yeah, he's got this second blockhouse, and obviously that's good. But I find it unlikely that he'll be able to support unit production from both of them for quite a long time. So I think Dutch has secured a nice advantage from some weird Azamk YOLO swag style gameplay. But yeah, there's the 700 wood as you mentioned.
Yeah. And but I mean, come on, like the Russian player's got 15 vills at 7 minutes. Normally you could have like 21 villagers right now. He's had to idle because he's just been getting kind of, I don't know, the pressure's just been on, and he hasn't been able to keep up with everything so far.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. It's been rather frustrating, rather irritating for him. Oh, and a stable coming down out of that wood. 700 wood's a really good shipment, but honestly, all of these production facilities, they're not going to be hugely useful to him, at least for the time being. But I guess he kind of needs, well, the blockhouses certainly. Has got a trading post out of it.
Yeah. Let's see and we're seeing just 1 additional bank and a barracks going down for Tibia. I wonder what he's going to go for now. Like, how do you keep this level of amazing going? Do you FF for halves, speedy halves, maybe?
Well,
like that's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, you've got 2 options, which is the Fortress Age, as you're mentioning, which certainly is good for Dutch. Dutch like to be in the Fortress Age. It's certainly where they're very strong. But do you think anything like keeping the colonial pressure up, is that a viable option? I mean, at this point, Russia's sort of on his heels, a bit far back, not really where he wants to be. Can you take advantage of that, or is it better to take advantage of that by knowing you're pretty safe to age and doing that, and just securing a place where Dutch is really strong?
On paper, the correct play is definitely just to age here. Like, you have such strong Fortress Age shipments, like 1K wood and other such things.
That's very true.
And you don't have Reuters yet, so like, the best thing to do would be, he had to build 2 in-base blockhouses, and all his army's in his base, so you should be trying to age. Yeah. But instead, he's opting to go for, it looks like it's going to be just all-out Colonial, which it'll be fun to watch.
Here it goes. Oh, goodness. Currently,
Boyer's in, by the way.
Yeah.
One last thing I wanted to say.
Has Boyers, which is a very strong shipment. Oh, that's not too good. All the pikemen going to be taken out on those hussars, or sorry, the Cossacks, which do have less hit points and less attack than normal cavalry, so it's not as favourable as it looks. Normally 5 cav can fight the musketeers. Fortunately, not too much damage being done. I mean, Cossacks still are stronger than pikes, and then the musketeers in the back were able to sort of clear that up. Tibia not going to want to take that now, since obviously Blue does have a larger army than him. Hussars look like they're going to go off, maybe do some raiding. Some skirmishers going to come in, perhaps use them to snipe out these musketeers. Keep the range advantage up. Oh, what's going on? 5 cavalry now going to come in pretty close. Only 3 pikemen there. Not going to be too useful against this large, massive cav, which does have the Boyers down. I think Blue, despite Russian units being weaker, has actually got this quite nicely.
Yeah, I think the skirmish got caught. I think he was just caught by surprise. I don't think he expected that many cav. The surprises are going both ways this game here.
Yeah, I don't think he knew, like, he saw 2 block houses, right? And you just don't think, yeah, he's going to build a stable as well. Like, you just don't think that, like...
Yeah, and if you check the deck, like you said, he doesn't have 4 Cossack even, so he's Vil fighting now and everything.
Wow, that's...
3 Hussar coming out, that's fine. I think that was why he left the Vils there, to bait.
He knew they would.
More Cossack coming.
3 Cossack coming in with only the skirmishes in the back. The only form of anti-cavalry that green has is
Look at how many Cossacks are coming. Oh my gosh.
That's the 5 Cossack shipment on top of Boyers. I'm not quite sure why he sent Boyers then 5. I'd have sent them the other way around perhaps, but certainly here lots of cavalry and really just tearing into the Dutch player. Do you think perhaps the 5 Envoy in the early game slowed him down? No, this is just lots of cav.
Yeah, this is a lot of cav. I mean, 8 pike is clearly coming right now. Otherwise, Tibia is out of the game. So
there it is.
There they
8
are.
pikemen popping out. Perhaps the Minutemen as well, though I do find that perhaps less likely. At this point,
no food.
I would imagine no food. Very true. I imagine that town center. Minutemen do come out, perhaps selling some food or whatever it was at his market to get them. Feeling clearly quite pressured. Decides that he needs his Minutemen to sort of push these cavalry away. And at this point, King Richard is definitely really quite far ahead in terms of villages. Earlier it was Tibia who had that advantage, but now the Russian economy, obviously you train your villages in batches of 3, certainly going to able to catch him up. Every 50 seconds you do essentially get a free extra villager, and of course all of these Cossacks must have killed some villagers. I mean, around the stable we saw them attacking villages, and here secured, I'd say Richard's in a perhaps leading position, though the scores wouldn't reflect that because of course Russia always does have a slightly lower score.
Yeah, they do, and I would agree with you that he's definitely come into a strong position. Like especially when we look at where he was. At the same time, he's just got cav, which is good. But like if Tibia decides to just like age up, if he finds a way to do it, it's going to be hard to deal with it.
But he's not aged up just yet, and that's where Dutch kind of wants to be. Russia really enjoys the long, dragged-out colonial games where they're really strong because of the villages that they can train, that train faster than other civilizations because of the batches of 3 mechanic, but also because of Boyers and the efficiency of their units even before Boyers. This is sort of where Russia wants the game to be at the moment.
Yeah, and look, he's got another blockhouse up. I think Tibia might be underestimating his opponent because he's getting really cocky with this like 3 skirms he's got, you know?
Yeah.
Like doesn't have anything.
Start as well.
Yeah.
That doesn't like to say, oh, I think I've got this from the get-go. If anything else does. Oh, wow. That's, like, the blue army is really quite large there. Yes, there's a lot of pikes, so I don't think he can take it right now. But most of Green's units, such as Minutemen, or a few of them are at least.
I have this feeling that 13 Strelets is coming very soon.
Yeah, that would be what he needs right now to deal with certainly the pikemen.
Look at these 3 Hussar in the back. Look at they're just picking up Vils right now. And even if Tibia on the mind, and even if Tibia loses this fight, he's gonna pick up so many Vils.
Yeah, it's like that tunnel vision effect right now. You're focusing on the fight. You got to get the micro down. You got to do everything you need to do. And yes, he's fighting the pikes with his cav, but I think he wants to focus them down pretty quick. It doesn't matter.
You know what the problem is? Tibia messed up big time there. All those pikes were in cover mode that whole time.
Really?
And
wow.
Yeah, that's why that happened the way it did.
But all this time, Tibia does have those 3 Hussars in his opponent's base. Obviously, Richard wins that fight, but he has perhaps tunnel vision and doesn't realize that there's 3. Oh, he just realizes now. Look at the villager counters. Tibia's so much far ahead. What a swing. That's really, really big for him.
He killed a lot of Vils, but look at how many. Look at there's like 13. The 13 Strelet card came in as I was guessing, and there's a lot of Cossacks right now.
Lots of Cossacks. 13 Strelets are here. Though I think it's okay for him. I mean, right now, yes, Blue has a large army. He's going to take out that house, which is rather frustrating. But Green has 21 military units total. Yes, a lot of them are pikemen, which aren't overly useful, but certainly it's still 21 units. Oh, 30 for Richard. I think
But look at the macro. 900 gold in the bank for Tibia. If he decides to actually macro at any point in this game, he could have like way more units coming out.
Do you think at this point you're like, oh god, I have so much coin, I'll just build a saloon?
I would buy, when I have too much coin, I buy food, but
You buy food, yeah. I guess that's.
I'd rather not have like renegade pistoleros or something.
And plus, I mean, if you're in Fortress Age, perhaps it might be better. But yeah, food here. This fight isn't looking too favorable for Green, though he's going to have to take it.
I think it might be. It actually might be more favorable than we think. We'll see. The Hussar are in a good position to block all the Strela shots, yeah, and Cossack aren't real calves.
So. Cav pop out. Perhaps that's why he took the fight. Why is my alarm clock going off? I don't know. It does, however, add to the tension. Green, 5 power spike, 1,000 resources worth of units do just pop out of his stable. Takes that with the town center fire. I did initially think, actually, Blue does have this. He's got a larger army, but then again, Blue units are weaker since they are Russian ones, and I thought, okay, Green hasn't got Minutemen either, but actually a really favorable outcome for him.
I think that's going to close out. That's going to put him in. It's going to put the blue player in a really bad spot. You can see the 60 score deficit. 10 cav now running around. That's gonna kill a lot of vills for sure. Absolutely. And like all of the Russian players got to his name are 4 block. He's got almost more blockhouses than military units right now. So
yeah, wow, almost more blockhouses than military units. I think his shipment order is kind of interesting in the sense that he valued boyars over 5 Cossacks. Earlier in the game. Unfortunately, that 700 wood he started out with, like, he didn't have the economy at the time to really make a huge deal out of it. I mean, you do need 2 blockhouses and perhaps a stable at some point, but not in that early portion of the game. And now, his most recent shipment is this advanced arsenal. Oh dear, Strelets getting caught out position by the cavalry. Along come the blue cav, gonna try and push them back, but really, he doesn't need to go anywhere. Green has totally got that.
Yeah, exactly. I would have just fought that with Hussar, but it's funny, like, I think he was trying to save that blockhouse maybe, but he's got so many blockhouses, he could just let that go. Like, down here, he's got plenty of hunts. So, I mean, he's got enough stuff to stay in the game. And to your point, he actually built the arsenal, and it is advanced, so he's going to be getting, like, he can get stuff, yeah.
And some really strong upgrades. I was just thinking, it's going to be kind of tough when you're playing from behind to actually afford those upgrades. I mean, super late game, they're really good, because like a permanent upgrade on your units is insane, but at this point, is perhaps spending resources on actually making units better than upgrading your small amount of existing ones?
It definitely is. I think it just, he's getting counter-infantry rifling too, I mean, but that's, like, to your point, 10 more Strelets would do much more than having 4 counter-infantry. Right? Yeah, exactly.
What are you even upgrading at this point? Like, that's the question, and I think maybe more units here is what you need to kind of pull this back. But then take a look at his deck. What does he actually have to send that he has? Like, I mean, his deck is essentially these fencing school and team dueling school. It's a more I mean, what could you send, really?
Eco Theory, I guess.
Eco Theory, that's true. Does he have
that's like 3.5
point as well? He could have just, I mean, that was worth considering.
He's here, he sent that early Colonial, remember? He was picking that up.
Of course. He was. And here, just Green gonna take out this blockhouse. Blue just tries to come in, perhaps trying to draw the aggression away a bit. Doesn't want to actually engage it, but certainly can make Green follow him about a bit. Blockhouse does go down, and now Tibia going to push on in. This is his only hunt that he's, well, it's not his only hunt, but certainly it's the one he's collecting from right now. And, Blue does manage to get a few sneaky shots in against the units there, but taking some damage. Just skirmishing a bit here, and I think Tibia is now going to take the fight. He wants to go in. He's got plenty of units to do it. Got the cavalry a nice surround. Everything's doing damage where it wants to be. Skirmishes in the back, focusing down on all of the infantry units. Going to bring that down. In fact, I don't really think he needs to focus on anything in particular. He's got that.
Yeah, and now this ball of pikes is going to come and just finish this fight up. The Cossacks did surprisingly well, and that's the Boyar's card, I think, actually making that happen.
Has he got any upgrades from perhaps the...
No, he doesn't. I haven't watched.
Cavalry Kiosisras that gives you extra hit points.
It just got in. It just got in like 5 seconds ago.
So it wasn't active during the fight or something, I don't know. Either way, Green has he's got this fight, got the eco advantage, and is on top of Blue's hunt, killing the villagers, and indeed, even if the villagers did escape, you can't gather from his hunt anymore.
He's going Fortress now, too. More important.
The tech advantage will be real. The skirmishers will get their 20% attack and hit points for free because they'll become veteran, which happens for Dutch. Currently they're not veteran. Have access to the Reuters, which are really quite strong against cavalry with their times 3 damage multipliers.
Yeah, even if he loses all this army, which he will, he can get a lot of villas for it, and when he hits fortress, those skirms will be like one shot. It will be cleaning up the villas that much faster.
Absolutely. So at this point, Richard's like, all right, I kind of almost got. There's no more units coming in. I've killed off basically what's here. There's a couple units left. Maybe you can finish those out with the 2 caravan there. But he's still losing. Anyway, he thinks, all right, I got this, and then he sees Tibia hit up to fortress, and he's like, ah.
Oh, that's why I
That's
was
why.
able to finish that fight up. And that's why there were no units coming for the retreat.
So he spent 2,200 resources on aging. I see now. Okay.
Wait, he has spent 2,000 coin. He's queued up so many falcons. He must have 5 falcons in queue.
Has he? Let's take a look at the queue.
He has 5 falcons in queue.
Plus 10 Reuters as well to protect them with.
What we really needed to see was like go industrial and revolt or something if he was trying to do something really cool right now.
Revolt as Dutch. I'm not too sure about that.
I think they get that 30 2p, don't they? Those 2p are actually pretty good.
It's very strong, actually. If you have there's a 2p shipment in the Fortress Age that you can send. If you send that before your revolt, they all become legendary as well, and it's actually quite strong. But
yeah, I know. Sure.
There are stronger civilizations to revolt with, and I think generally revolting is not the most secure way to win. Certainly, it can. Oh, a petard in queue of all things as well.
Man, these 5 falcons are just gonna rip down any buildings. It's gonna be really cool to see. They'll like blow up Cossacks. They'll blow up anything.
This is the ending blow. I mean, at this point, Richard's okay. He hasn't lost yet. He's still going. He still has some economy. It's still okay. But this is where Tibia, he's pulled together what he needs to do. He's got to the Fortress Age. He's done lots of damage earlier. And now that he's here, this is where he stops messing around and brings the game to an end. It's going to be very solid. The only thing Russia can do against it... Oh my, they're out of position, those Falks. Though there are only 5 Cossacks to deal with them.
No.
Oh.
I think he got intimidated.
Yeah.
Boom. Oh my god.
Those poor Strelets.
Oh no.
Get wrecked, sit down.
Oh,
and they splosh in the water. That's really quite funny. Yeah, but
I think
Richard calls the GG there, and I think that really is the end of the game. I mean, there's not a huge amount you can do. 65 military population for the Dutch player versus 5 for Richard. 1 for Richard. 0 for Richard.
What? Oh, yeah. Counting the Cossacks down.
There we have it. That was the first game. What an interesting one from Tibia, actually. Starting with the 5 envoys, which was rather interesting, and then actually we saw Russia in a really favourable position for a period of time. And then Dutch does manage to get it together, hits up to Fortress Age after doing a lot of damage, and then ends the game with this 5 Falk push with a ton of Reuters with a really nice economy behind it. There we have it. Alright, let's get out of this one, get into the next game in just a moment. Stay tuned, everybody. Thank you very much for watching this VOD, if it is a VOD. If you're in the stream, then you can just ignore me. See you all in a moment.